Zuckerberg kicks bias to the curb as Meta embraces user-driven fact-checking with community notes. In a significant shift from its previous content moderation strategy driven by government-influenced narrative support, Meta, the parent company of platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, has announced the termination of its biased third-party fact-checking program in favor of a system reminiscent of X community notes. This system, effective immediately in the US, mirrors the model popularized by Elon Musk's platform X. Let's take a deeper look into what this upgrade actually is, the rationale behind it, and its potential impacts for the platforms and other social media. Hey guys, Mizuki here. Uncle Zuck just dropped a bombshell, and no, it's not another weird VR-like update. Meta, the overlord of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, you know, the app no one uses, decided to finally ditch their sketchy government-kissing third-party fact-checking program. Yep, those biased fact-checkers? Out, replaced by, you guessed it, you! This bold move has immediately effect in the US. Shamelessly rips off Elon Musk's community notes from X, formerly Twitter, because why come up with original ideas when you can just copy them from experts to the wisdom of the masses? Let's talk about this revolutionary new plan. For years, Meta's fact-checking program was allegedly about correcting misinformation, but surprise, surprise, it turned into a political Hunger Games. Turns out those so-called unbiased moderators were about as neutral as a referee rooting for his cousin's team. Even Mark Zuckerberg, yes, the guy who made Facebook and is now trained to be a real-life MMA fighter, has finally admitted these fact-checkers brought their own political baggage, and the users, oh, they notice it loudly. So, to avoid another PR dumpster fire, Meta has decided to hand over the reins to us, the common folk. Wow, democracy! He even made a video to talk about all of this. Let's take a look. But before we go any further, I would take this brief moment here to thank you all my patrons that support my work here on YouTube, and especially my first retail Fox Tire member, Heath Rowell, for the incredible support to my work. Remember, you can support this channel work and growth with just $5 a month and have exclusive benefits.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact-checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote non-stop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact-checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems, they're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Well said, Mark, but we know you are not saint. And it wasn't just a few people damaged by this. Not even close to be a few. Joe Capeham, Meta's global affairs guy, who, fun fact, used to work for George W. Bush, summed it up nicely. We've seen this approach work on Next, where they empower their community to decide when posts are potentially misleading and need more context. Thanks, Joel. Superb. Inspiring. So how does this new system works? Spoiler. It's like X. Here is the deal. If you see a post that is sus, you can write a note calling it out. Other users, real humans, presumably, vote on whether your note is legit. If enough people from different ideological groups agree, your note gets published for everyone to see. The goal? No single political tribe gets to run the show. Sounds cool and all, right? But let's be real, this is the internet. What could possibly go wrong, right? I mean, we're talking about meta here, guys. Meta. Now, this change has two camps. Team Yay! Finally, Meta is letting us speak without censoring every other word. Topics like immigration, identity politics, or why pineapple on pizza is a crime are back on the menu. Team Nay, without trained professionals, aka fact-checkers this cartoon into a festival of fake news. Imagine Uncle Jerry posting conspiracy theories unchecked. Yikes. Either way, it's a wild gamble. But hey, Meta says they are all about fostering free expression now. And I'm always in favor of the free speech and less censorship, even though I don't use Instagram, Facebook, or Threads. But let's see how long that lasts before someone gets censored again. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. This isn't just about Zuck being a freedom fighter. This shift comes conveniently as US political winds change. Oh, and did I mention Joe Kaplan? Remember him? And Meta's $1 million donation to Trump's inauguration fund? Makes you think, right? Meta just hit us with a plot twist, straight out of a reality show. Not only did they roll out their shiny moderation system, yes, the one they shamelessly copied from Elon's X, but they also shook things up by adding UFC boss Dana White to their board. Yep, Meta is getting a plenty makeover, and it's not just Dana. On January 6, they announced 3 new board members. John Elkann, Big Cheese over at Stellantis, you know, the company that makes chips and dodges. Charlie Songhurst, some Microsoft brainiac with money written all over him. Clearly, Meta's board just went from nerdy tech bros to a cross-industry adventure squad. Looks like Zuck is stepping out of the Silicon Valley bubble and bringing in some heavy hitters. So, how's the internet taking this? Well, as you'd expect, it's chaos out there. Chaos. Pure chaos. I love that. First one, teen applause. Finally, Meta is moving toward free speech, less censorship, more open dialogue. Woohoo! And then we have Teen Doom. But what about misinformation? We're all gonna get harassed by trolls. Even over on X, people can decide whether to throw confetti or pitchforks. Some are treating this as the dawn of a freedom of speech renaissance, while others are gearing up for what they are calling misinformation apocalypse 2.0. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Meta is making some big promises. They say this new system will focus on tackling illegal content and high-severity violations while finally letting people talk about actual issues, politics, social stuff, and all these spicy topics that were previously slapped with the censor label. But don't go popping your jumping yet. There are a couple of hurdles. The success of this depends on users not turning it into a dumpster fire. And let's be real, have you met the internet? And there are places like the EU have super strict misinformation laws. So Zuck and his gang will still have to tread carefully or risk getting fined into oblivion. This shift isn't just about fairness or freedom, it's a strategic power move. With Dana White on the board and a system that leans on you to moderate content, Meta is clearly signaling we are done playing it safe. But here is the million-dollar question. Will this actually make social media smarter and freer? Or will it just turn Facebook into an even massive family reunion? Only time will tell. For now, we are in for a wild ride. So, what do you guys think? Is Meta finally getting its act together? Or are they just trading one problem for another? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell. Seriously, I need those engagement numbers. Also, letting you guys know that I will not be allowing comments held for moderation anymore. Some of you may know already, I got shadow banned on this channel. So I need to lower the risks of it happening again. Also, that's why your support on Patreon is even more important, since I will be held from growing the channel for some days or weeks for it. See you guys in the comment section as always. Bye!